Welcome to e-commerce marketing with the Pitbulls, where we catch up with craft brands to hear their story and learn how they're growing their e-commerce channel. Hi, I'm Andy.
And I'm Lindsay.
And today we're joined by Ryan Rock. He is the co-founder and CEO of Fat Boy Surf Club. Ryan, thank you for being here.
How's it going? Thank you. Happy to be here.
We're very happy to have you as well. Can you tell us a little bit? We're just chatting before we started recording here, and you had told us that you founded this with three friends or two other friends in 2020 around the pandemic. Tell us a little bit about Fat Boy Surf Club and how it got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was, like you said, kind of a COVID joke / hobby that took off a little bit farther than we ever thought it could. Back in 2020, here in Los Angeles, they closed down all of the beaches unless you were doing activities. So running, surfing, all of that. So, at that time, my two buddies that are actually from Chicago have lived in Los Angeles for, at that time, like 5-6 years, had never had any interest in surfing. Now, all of a sudden, we're trying to borrow my old boards and wetsuits and everything because everyone was trying to get out of their house and into the ocean and all that. So, one of our buddies could not get over the fact of how unflattering it was just being in a wetsuit, and the jokes of Fat Boy Surf Club started, and then kept going like over breakfast burritos. And the original idea was just to like make some shirts that we were going to wear as like a shtick when the bars open back up. And our buddy's girlfriend was a graphic designer, so she made us the first logo of Fat Boy Surf Club. We decided to put a manatee on it because they're the sea cows to the original Fat Boys. And then we didn't realize how much people loved manatees and how much the messaging started to resonate with people. But we made those first shirts, 2020 at that time. I was furloughed and had a lot of time on my hands. So we started the Instagram, we started the Shopify free trial, and it just kind of started snowballing from there as people bought our first shirts. Then we used that money to buy 50 shirts, then that money to buy 100 shirts, and just kind of started snowballing from there. And now we just had our third birthday on Saturday, and we've done, I think, 11,000 orders to this point. So it's been a kind of a wild last couple of years that we never really expected, but why can't we keep it going kind of thing?
That's awesome. I love that story. Kind of starting something up as a hobby, a passion project, and then just growing from there.
Exactly.
It sounds like you've had a ton of growth, especially recently. Tell us a little bit about kind of what would you attribute that to? I know you kind of quoted some numbers for us through June, but is that kind of a hockey stick? Is that, or is this kind of the same trajectory you've been on? Or tell us
about So like we said, because this was like we never really sat out to be like when we started the idea of like we're gonna make this e-commerce company and this is how we're gonna do it and we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. It's kind of like we started taking it on the fly. And with that, we definitely made a lot of mistakes at the beginning and things that, some things that did work was obviously building of the authenticity and of the brand and like the quality and everything. But in terms of marketing and, like hiring an agency, like last year, beginning of last year, we hired an agency that really didn't work out for us. We were burning a lot of cash, and like, we at the time we thought these were record sales for us, but what we were paying the agency, what we were paying on ads, we actually weren't really making money at all. So all of a sudden we were kind of dead in the water, and we just really started. We paused the marketing, really started focusing on the product and the brand and building this community that we had there. And then in October, we found a new agency that really was with our brand and our messaging and wanted to help grow our brand to kind of, create their own ad agency. So with that, it was kind of this synergy where we were both trying to grow together kind of thing versus like us being just a client of someone. So in October, we really turned back on the ads again, but this time with a much better understanding of who our audience was and what our brand was and what we wanted to kind of put out there. And then since October, it has been definitely hockey stick. Like we have already doubled what we did all of 2022 through June. We just did a new drop this week. So August is looking like it's on pace for another record month. And then we're going to have Q4. Like we're already outgrowing kind of our small little warehouse space that we have here. So Yeah, I'd say in the last 6 months is where it's really taken off. I've been able to do it full time and really dedicate all my time to it, kind of thing.
I'm curious about like kind of the seasonality of the brand, because I know a lot of times I would think, we always have huge Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and a lot of our clients kind of run through, holiday season as big, but being so kind of summer focused with a summertime activity, I'm curious if you guys see something a little bit different than that.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is, I mean, here in Los Angeles, it doesn't get too much of a difference between summer and winter. It's kind of, sunny a lot. But what we do see is, it's just different. It's cyclical with different products is basically what it is. So, spring and summer for us are huge with hats and t-shirts and some of those like, more summer items. And then the fall and winter and spring is a lot of these hoodies and crew necks, some of these larger ticket items. So it's almost like during spring and summer, you're looking at some of these items that say are a little bit less in price, but how do you keep that average order value up? So it's a lot of, bundling hats and shirts together, like, hey, this shirt and this hat comes in a collection kind of thing. So that's kind of what we've played around with, where the seasonality for us is kind of more on just the items that people are looking for kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Got it. Yeah. I'm curious, as like you guys kind of got started organically, and it sounds like, from the brand to the different marketing techniques and talking about the seasonality, when did you start to kind of pivot, outside of the agency work, obviously, but to kind of take more of that marketing business point of view? I'm curious how that kind of went from the organic, authentic community to now having to start to think about some of those things like, hey, this isn't, I mean, I'm sure it is just, the shirts and hats that you want to wear, but at the same time, you got to start thinking, well, do we put out a collection? Do we bundle some things? How do we market this all together?
So it's a good question, because I think the biggest thing that we've done and the reason that people are repeat customers and have come back and stayed with us through 3 years is the authenticity is what, like, everything that we make, it's something that we want to wear. We're not looking at it like, hey, fall's coming up, we need to put out like 5 different crew necks. Like, we're looking at it like, we love this design. We love it if we love it, it works better on a t-shirt, we're going to put out a t-shirt. Like, we want to, at the end of the day, put out something that we would wear ourselves. And because of that, I feel like we've always kind of hit with our core customer base. So I think for us, we've always kind of been looking at our community of customers as kind of, as long as we're taking care of them, the rest will kind of grow. So like, when you talk about marketing and when we got serious about it, like we're serious about it now in terms of like, hey, we need to have more content so we can use this for new ads and bring in new people. But at the end of the day, we're still growing very much because of the organic and the repeat customer base. Like, if you look at our return on ad spend, like, let's say if, just throwing numbers out, let's say if we have a 60K month and we have like 4 times return on ad spend, we're only spending like 10 to 12 grand on ads right now. So there is a big chunk that is still being attributed to, that guerrilla marketing, that organic marketing, where people are still telling their friends where they got it. The name itself is kind of conversational starting when you wear it out. And there's, 5 different people wearing different hats that all say Fat Boy Surf Club. People do start to ask about it. So, we've really leaned into a lot of like the empowering our own customers, with either that being our affiliate program, where we are bringing some of our most loyal customers and making them brand ambassadors, to also this kind of club aspect that we've really made online on our social media, like where what we started doing from the very beginning is if someone posts or tags us in anything wearing Fat Boy Surf Club, like, we repost it. Like, most of our content that we use on social media is user generated content. So it almost has become this thing where our customers know to bring or wear out their Fat Boy gear when they go on trips, or if they're going to the beach, and taking photos of it and then tagging us in it. So it's almost like that's kind of been our biggest marketing thing, is our own customer base. So as much as the ads are obviously working and it's great to get more people in, I think what we've done a good job of is having those ads really showcase what the brand and what the club is. And then it brings in more people where it just starts growing kind of exponentially that way.
I'd love to ask about the affiliate program. How did that
Yeah.
get started, and what's that looking like now?
Yeah. So we just use now, very simply, we use Shopify collabs now. And it started from the very beginning of just like, hey, when we had people that some of our most loyal customers that had bought over and over again, or friends that were wearing it out all the time and coming to us and saying, hey, I've got someone that wants a hat. I've got someone that wants a shirt. Like, do you have a discount code that you can give us? So we started to get that a lot. And then when we found, when Shopify launched their Shopify collabs, you can have people like sign up for your brand ambassador program where we make them a custom promo code. So it's to them directly. And then they can give it to their friends and family, and it pays them like a percentage commission right off the bat. So like they're incentivized to share it and everything. But really, it's what we found is most people don't, like, a lot of the people don't even want the commission. They just want to be able to give that promo code out to people when someone's asking about it and kind of build that camaraderie there. So we've found that it's been much more effective to have someone that is actually passionate about your brand and wants to help and see it grow versus paying for, say, an influencer that it comes off and feels like a paid advertisement where, versus someone that is actually like passionate and knows about the brand kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that really comes through, especially on the social media. And it makes me want to ask, when you were first giving out the shirts and you were at that point right before you jump onto that free trial in Shopify and you were making this decision to kind of go to the next level, were you thinking about the brand ahead of time? And were you seeing it build and thinking, okay, this is like a cool brand that we can transition? Or did it just happen kind of symbiotically as you were moving? Like, how did that come to be? Because I think, honestly, this is like the secret sauce a lot of brands wish that they could have thought of at the very beginning, because it's so valuable where you're at now.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely was one of those things where it kind of happened as we were building it. Like we definitely, because like I said, it was a COVID hobby joke, whatever you want to call it. Like we didn't set out to be like, you know what, this is what we're going to do. And this is why we're doing it, because we want to build this club aspect. What we found was, one, we were authentic to kind of who we are. And that is just like self-deprecating, like the average guys, like, we're not going to be, we like to have a couple beers. We like to, maybe not eat the healthiest. I'm not going to have a salad every single day kind of thing. And that kind of attitude just kind of resonated with people. And then the whole full, like giving back portion, like we found, when we were making the brand, we're like, Fat Boy Surf Club, it kind of is a little bit like the Jimmy Buffett kind of Margaritaville, a little bit like that type of person at first. And we saw that Jimmy Buffett was the spokesperson of the Save the Manatee Foundation. And we had a manatee on our shirts. We started donating a portion of the proceeds to the Save the Manatee Foundation. So within the first couple months, we found that, our brand messaging that we were just kind of, just came up with that day. It was resonating with people. So we really leaned into that and that aspect of it. We found out that people love manatees. So we continued on that path as well. And then just from that community and club, the power of the word club, where people like actually, what we found was as we were reposting people and asking them to take photos in the gear and kind of showcasing that, it made them feel like they were part of the brand and like almost like they were rooting for us. And they were, as we started to build out more product and grow, our same customers that bought at the beginning were like coming back and buying more because they wanted to be part of it and felt like they were a part of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I love that.
I want to kind of zoom in on that, strategy, especially with like the affiliate perspective of it, and then generating the community. Because I think, right now, obviously everybody's talking about influencers. That's kind of seems to be like the big buzzword. And I'm hearing more and more like, hey, don't go after the big influencers, go after, micro influencers, going to be, probably where you're going to find much more kind of niche value. I feel like in some ways you kind of have like the ultimate micro influencer, right? It's like somebody who's not necessarily even an influencer. They're just somebody who's got their group of friends, got their own individual community, and kind of working out with them. I think that's really kind of innovative in that I haven't heard a lot of brands doing that, why pay even a micro influencer to promote your product when in reality you can just, either pay through an affiliate code or, just ask your customers to really show off to their community.
Yeah. I think what we did very well was, as we've grown and we still do this to this day, is customer service and the quality is our top priority. So like and then letting people know, and like we let people know all the time that we are a small company. So when, we had returns or exchanges or any issues or anything like that, like we will always replace it, and we will always make sure that it's like, if there's a negative situation, we're going to turn it into a positive. And then as people found out that we were a small company doing that, like it kind of felt more personal to them. And like, they felt like they were talking to, like when you email in and you want an exchange, you're probably talking to me. Like I'm the one that's emailing you back and saying, yeah, like we're happy to exchange that for you. So I think with what that did was, to your point with the micro influencers and everything, people felt like they were part of the brand. Like they're a part of this community. Like they know you personally. So then when people are wearing it and someone's asking about it, hey, where'd you get that? They're like, it's almost, to your point, like they're not a micro influencer. They're just like very passionate about your brand. And it almost takes it from, they're not just promoting it online. It's like when they're out and about in the real world, it's like, yeah, go to fatboysurfclub.com right now and get this hat kind of thing. So it's kind of not just these unboxing videos or stuff like that, or promoting to their followers. It's like in real life to their friends and family, they are shouting our brand out from the rooftops, if you will. So it's definitely something that I don't think we set out to, like, that wasn't like the strategy that we set out and like, hey, this is why we're going to do this. But when we saw it working that way, it's like, okay, let's add fuel to this fire kind of thing. And let's continue to have people feel like they're part of this brand and building it with us kind of thing.
Definitely. Tell me about, so as you've been building out this community, how did you kind of tap into, or my intuition would be that you likely kind of glommed onto the community that already existed in surfing. I know it's like kind of a really strong, group and identity that people, build around that. Have you done anything, intentional or unintentional to kind of, leverage that?
Honestly, the intentional thing that we did was kind of to differentiate ourselves from the surf industry. Like I grew up surfing, my whole life, and there are obviously a ton of people that love surfing and a ton of people that are passionate about it. But there is a little bit of a gatekeeping when it comes to like the surf industry and like, the whole locals approach and all that stuff, where it's like, if you're not, if you're just learning and all that, you are in the way, like people will, it's kind of aggressive. So it's like our kind of thing was, and why our whole Fat Boy Surf Club started was because my two buddies were trying to learn how to surf and we were just having fun with it. It kind of, it should be fun. It's not a competition out there. Most people, like, there's a lot of people out there that are angry and treating it like it's a competition. It's like, why are you out here then? Like, it's supposed to be this nice, fun activity. And it's kind of like, to put it into some other terms, it's kind of like the whole golf movement that's happening. Like the golf, like, used to be this like uppity, uptight, like community. And now it's for everyone, like the average Joe and everything like that. And I think through COVID, because everyone had a lot of time on their hands, I feel like there was kind of that movement in the surf industry as well, where there were so many more people learning how to do it and wanting to surf. And then, because of that, some of the lineups get a little more crowded. Some of the people that have been doing it longer are now angry and they don't want people learning how to surf. It's like, dude, at the end of the day, like, it's more fun to surf with your friends than it is to deal with like an aggressive like crowd like that. So the only intentional thing that we did was kind of, if you look at like our About Us page and the way we started is talking about how, hey, surfing's meant to be fun and it's supposed to be like, we want to include everyone. And if you like, surfing is for everyone. And if, we wanted to take that kind of mindset, and that's just kind of the way that we live our everyday life. So it's like, it's not, you're not meant to take yourself too seriously. Like, have fun. Like, don't sacrifice, having a lettuce wrap burger to enjoy life, basically, is kind of what it is. And so with that, it's kind of resonated with people that obviously have felt that do surf, or were learning to surf, or maybe have always wanted to try to surf. But then you can also take that a little bit outside. And we have people that buy all over the country that maybe have never surfed ever. And they're just like, I feel this like fun, loving, easygoing way of life. And that's what I want to do. And that's why it resonates with people, kind of thing.
That's really cool.
I love that. I want to ask about the giving back portion of it. We work with a lot of brands that have worked with different organizations. And I know that you mentioned the connection with the manatee. And how did you make that like an official part of the business? Was there any concerns about it, or how did that come about?
Yeah, I think, we wanted to, at the end of the day, you can buy a shirt from anyone, you can buy a hat from anyone. Like, ours may be high quality and soft, but there's probably other companies that also use very high quality products and soft as well. Like, so there's not a lot of differentiators out there. And we, wanted to give back in some way. And it just seemed so perfect because it was like, manatees, we already use them. We already had them on our first shirt that we were wearing. It was kind of our unofficial mascot. So we wanted to do that. And it also just like, going back, we also donate to like the Surfrider Foundation and some of that. So what we wanted to do is we look at it as it's a way for us to give back, but also it's a way to like, you can buy a shirt from anyone now. At least if you're buying it, you're going to buy it anyways. You're giving back as well. And then there's also just been a lot of fun, like, content that we've been able to make out of it. Like, we have adopted 4 manatees from the Save the Manatee Foundation. So like, we've been able to like poll our social media following and be like, which one should we donate and which one should we adopt next? Like, we've been able to, now anytime there's any sort of manatee video or facts, like, it's just content for us as well. And people like who care about that same cause now are buying from us because they want to support that cause as well. So it's been cool. We've been able to not only, donate our portion of the proceeds to the Save the Manatees Foundation, but also help promote like their organization and what they've been doing. So at the end of the day, it's a differentiator for us in the crowded apparel space. And also it's fun, good content that we can use to like stay relevant with our customers and use that for ads and stuff like that.
I love too that I kind of just want to underscore that it's not just a company donating to an organization. You're actually tying it back into the community aspect and having people help pick what's the next one that we're going to be adopting. That's so exciting for people to be a part of. Whereas if you buy something somewhere else and they're giving back a percentage, there's no transparency there necessarily about whether they're doing that or what, or where that goes to within an organization. Whereas here, this is like part of it. And now you're also a part of this whole process with us, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. And I feel like because we've done it from the beginning, it feels less of like, and then obviously it's good when any company gives back, but like a lot of times what you'll see is like these big companies that are, it's this month. So this month we're going to give back so that, we can use that for our own press and marketing. Like us, it's just like, we started from the beginning doing it and we like giving back to this foundation. And because of that, we've met a bunch of people that have also like adopted the same manatees that we have. And they're like all excited to reach out to us and tell us all about it. And, as we continue to grow, we're going to do a lot more of like be able to do more business trips to like different like places like Manatee Foundation Springs and stuff like that. And hopefully do more actual events and content and fundraisers and that kind of stuff. So I think it's just opened a ton of doors for us. And I don't think we'd have the same growth or be in the same position if we didn't have that some sort of philanthropic aspect to our business kind of thing.
I love all the different ways as we kind of go through each one of these. It seems like you keep popping up with a new way that you're kind of engaging the community and creating community. I think a lot of brands, when they hear that, they think, oh, well, I got to create a Facebook page, right? And okay, well, hopefully a bunch of my fans will come in, but it's not really applicable for probably most brands, honestly, like who really wants to, have a Facebook page or a Facebook group for their favorite clothing brand or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool that it's like, you can get creative and there's a lot of things out there that you can try and create this community around. It doesn't just have to be, hey, let's just create a forum where a bunch of people who wear our stuff can get together.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's not just like, a lot of times I feel like it's like maybe you're polling your community of like, what product should we come out with next? Or like, do you like this logo over this logo? This is like, as we continue to grow, because there's the whole surfing aspect, the ocean aspect, the food aspect, the philanthropic aspect, like we can do events that are based on like ocean cleanup. We can do ones that are strictly for like philanthropic for manatees. We can do one that's just like, hey, we're going to do a food pop-up like we did our first year. We did a breakfast burrito collab with a local breakfast burrito place where we basically, you got a shirt and a breakfast burrito and hosted it at a local bar. And so like, there's so many different events and things that we can do because it kind of, for being called Fat Boy Surf Club, it really encompasses a lot of different avenues. So it's fun. And at the end of the day, I think the fact that we're having so much fun with it, I think is resonating with other people and they want to be at our events or help out and wear it. Yeah, it's been great. The community's been awesome.
It absolutely shines through. Just hearing you talk about it, I feel like the excitement and fun of the brand. I'm curious how that
my favorite thing to talk about.
As you kind of grow, this all comes from like a really authentic place of like, hey, let's have fun together. Let's do the things we're passionate about and care about, and just like hang out. It sounds like, but as you get to the point where you're like, the inevitable grind sets in, where it's like, okay, well, like, hey, we're growing, scaling, like we got a ton of orders to get out the door, or whatever it is. Like, how do you kind of, from an internal company culture perspective, kind of match up like your Fat Boy Surf Club, carefree, live every day to its fullest with like, hey, we're trying to build a brand here. We really got to work.
100%. And I would be lying if I said there weren't days where it was like, especially when, we're a small company. There's three of us. We've started now get some help in the warehouse. We started now get some help on like some customer service stuff. But for a while there, it was literally like, me in the warehouse with 1,000 orders to pack and to be like, that's not that fun of like, oh yeah, I'm living life to the fullest right now. It's like, yeah, a lot of times I'll start to joke that it's like I started a surf company and because of how busy I am with the surf company, I actually have surfed less now that I've started it. But I think at the end of the day, they're all good problems to have. And when you take a step back and you look at it from a fact of like, these are people are all buying and they're all buying from us because of what we've built. Like it all kind of goes back to, they could buy a shirt from anyone. You could buy a shirt from, you can go to Target and get a shirt without a brand on it at all. And it's going to do the same thing that ours does. But people want to actually wear ours because they're kind of wearing it as like, for lack of a better term, like a badge of honor and being able to wear it out and to have someone ask about it and have that community and be able to talk about it and everything like that. So those days where it does become a grind, like, what I always do is I kind of think back, it's like, at least I'm working harder and longer than I was when I had a 9-to-5 job, but at least I'm working for myself and I'm working towards building something versus working to build something for someone else kind of thing. And, when you're passionate about something, it really doesn't feel like work. At the end of the day, it's like we're packing orders and all that. And that's the kind of the cool part. We're sending it out to all these different states, all these different countries where it's like, when we started this, we thought it was going to be 25 shirts that we sold to our friends and family, and then we were going to forget about it and not do anything else after it. So kind of taking some time to reflect every once in a while has definitely been great for us. And like weeks like this, where we just had our 3rd birthday and we had people come from all over to celebrate with us, like that was a very cool moment where, it is a grind, but there's a big reward from it kind of thing.
That's really cool.
What are some lessons that if you could go back and talk to Ryan in 2020, who's about to embark on this, what are some lessons that you've learned that you would say like, hey, watch out for this, or hey, think twice about this? What are some things that you could get to other up and coming brands?
So I think the biggest thing is, the biggest thing that we did correctly was just go for it and go with the flow and like take it as it came kind of thing. There's a lot of times when like I'm talking to people and they're, talking about how they have the 6 months of the first 6 months, this is what we're going to do. Then we're going to do this. And it's like all planned out. And that's great. And I wish we kind of did a little bit more of that, but like at least we started. And because we started, it's where we are now. But because we didn't have that kind of take that time to like, all right, what do we want to do next? Like when it was time to say, okay, we're doing this full time now. This isn't like just a hobby anymore. Like I want this to be my career for the rest of my life kind of thing. I don't think we had the foundation in place. So what we thought at that time is, okay, we're ready to really kick this thing into high gear. So we found an agency that started spending a ton on marketing and doing a bunch of paid ads for us through Facebook and Instagram and all that. So it was great. Like we were starting to get orders from all over, from different customers. We were seeing these record days in sales, but we didn't have the foundation in place of like having the inventory stocked or forecasting or knowing how much inventory we're going to have. So all of a sudden we're spending money on ads and having an agency as a retainer. So we're burning a lot of money, and then we'd be sold out and have weeks of time before we're back in stock. And during that time, we're still paying for that retainer. Like we're still like, so if I could do it all over again, I'd say, or you go and say, we're ready to go from here to here kind of thing. Make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row in terms of like, okay, if we grow 4 times of what we're doing right now, do we have the inventory to sustain that? Well, are we going to be, so we were just kind of throwing more fuel to the fire without having those foundations in place. So what was happening is now we're spending a ton of money on marketing, on our agency, and on inventory. And all of a sudden we look up and we don't have money in the bank to pay some of these invoices. So all of a sudden now it's not fun anymore. Now it's kind of like, what are we going to do? So if we could do it all over again, I'd say making sure that we have everything buttoned up. But, that was in March of 2022. We paused all the marketing. We kind of figured out what our top selling products were, what we were going to launch for the rest of the year. And then that way, we got back on our feet. And by October of 2022, that's when we found our new agency partner who really understands who we are as a brand. And now we have that better communication with them where we know what we're promoting on our ads. We know what we have in stock. We know what we have to restock. And we've been able to keep the ball rolling instead of having these like growth and then pauses and then growth and then pauses. It's been more of a steady, consistent growth.
Yeah, it's so important, especially once you're partnering with an agency. We find that a lot where it's, the ads themselves can kind of live in a silo. And if you're not understanding the rest of the business and kind of, inventory and everything else that goes with it, whether it be, customer service and all the different pieces that kind of go into getting the order out the door, that can really come back to bite you if you're not kind of taking all that into account as you design and run the ads.
Right, exactly. And even just like not knowing that, it seems cliche and easy to understand, but it's like the products that are going to sell are the ones that you're promoting. So it's like we're promoting this specific 3 shirts and those ones are sold out. Like we still have all this stock in these other ones. Like let's update the creative and start promoting some of these, or, be able to talk with our agency and have that communication of like, hey, here's going to be the upcoming launch for next month. Let's start getting these in place. So, just having that better understanding of what kind of ads are going to sell which products and making sure that we have, the inventory for it. So we're not just burning cash kind of thing. So
I'd love to, it sounds like in transitioning from one agency to another, this second agency just understands your brand a lot more and the communication sounds like it's so much better. Can you talk a little bit about that process of getting into another agency after having worked with one and maybe there is some,
Yeah.
hesitation there. What were you thinking coming into working with a second agency?
Definitely a little more skeptical, but I think, what it was is I think it was actually just more of the confidence that we had and the understanding of our own brand that we had, where the first time around, we didn't really know that. And we weren't experts. And I would still be the first one to put my hand up and say, I'm no expert in all of this, but I know a lot more than I did back then. And the first time with the agency, we kind of let them like, okay, you tell us what to do. Like, we don't know how to do this kind of thing. Whereas the second time around, it's like, no, we know who our audience is. We know what our brand is and what like we want to put out there and what we want to promote. And that authenticity and that confidence to know that and tell and be able to communicate that to our new kind of agency partner is what's definitely been able to see us kind of grow to that next phase, if you will. Whereas the first time around, they were doing their job. They were doing a great job. We just didn't give them good direction because at the end of the day, we didn't know who our audience is or who our audience was. We didn't know what our brand messaging was. Like, we didn't know what we wanted to be putting out there because at that time it was still kind of like a hobby to us. Whereas now it's like, this is a real business that we know all the ins and outs of. We know who our customers are. We know what authentic message we want to put out there. And I think that's what's been able to have those actually be ads that are converting and helping us grow our business kind of thing.
That's awesome. So important. I feel like that happens a lot too, because as the founders, you have, you understand your brand, kind of what you're trying to get done, but putting that to paper or getting those words out of your mouth aren't always, quite as easy as, just understanding the feeling and the vision inside your own head.
Yeah. And it's when you first get presented with it, it's like, okay, here's this big packet of build out, like, tell us who your brand is and who your customers are. And it's kind of daunting. It's like, I don't know, like just put the ads up. And it's like, it's very important to have all that stuff buttoned up or else it's not going to work. So being a small company and only having 3 of us, it was kind of daunting to take on that task. And then going through it once and having that experience, we now understood how important it was to have all that in place kind of thing.
Awesome. Well, cool. I think we covered a bunch of ground here. I think we can leave it there. I really, appreciate you taking some time. Can you let us know or let our listeners know where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you guys having us on. Like I said, we're a small company, so we truly appreciate being able to talk about our business anytime. And we are at fatboysurfclub.com is our main website. We mainly use Instagram right now, so it's at fatboysurfclub. Any promo codes or discount codes is manatee20, gets you 20% off at checkout. So feel free to take a look and check us out and let us know what you think.
Awesome. That's really exciting. I might be going on there and getting myself a shirt or two.
I love it.
And of course, we'll drop all those links and the promo code in the show notes.
Awesome.
We were just telling Ryan this will be one of our first episodes going out on a podcast as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you run on over to Apple Podcast or Spotify, wherever you want to get your podcasts, and download, like, subscribe, and give us a rating over there as well. Lindsay, you want to read us out?
Yeah. So thank you again, Ryan, teaching us about Fat Boy Surf Club and just the wonderful importance of community building. Thank you to everyone watching and listening and tuning into Ecomm Marketing with the Pitbulls. Remember to subscribe to get all of our podcasts and YouTube videos as soon as they're released. And if you're finding this show valuable, please give us a like, leave us a review on wherever your favorite podcast player is, and we will catch you all next time.
Hey, it's Andy. I'm here with Percy, the original PPC Pitbull. Thanks for checking us out today. If you're ready to take the next step in your digital marketing journey, come on over to ppcpitbulls.com and book a free strategy session. We'll take a few minutes to get to know you and your brand, and I promise you'll leave with actionable insights that you can implement today. Working together, we're going to get you on the right track towards reaching your unique e-commerce goals.